was just drinking and I hated what I was doing in that moment. I just hated it. My wife is standing there. She was so over it. I can't be alert because I'm drunk. I would be drinking at work starting at 10 a.m. I would be hiding and drinking. Like it was not good. I feel like I was useless. I just didn't care. I thought, this is normal. This is how I'm supposed to be. I didn't think anything about alcohol. Whatever society says, they're wrong, bro.
Looking back 6 months ago, why is alcohol no longer a part of your life?
Um, because it definitely brought out the worst in me. Absolutely. I was just, it sounds like, I don't know, maybe harsh, and I don't know if my wife would agree 100%, but I feel like I was useless in the house. I was lacking motivation at work. I just didn't care, you know?
Yeah.
And I just thought that was me being me as I'm entering my 40s. I thought, this is normal. This is how I'm supposed to be. This is how my body's supposed to look. And I didn't think anything about alcohol. It was like coffee or water. It's just, you know, I don't know. It's weird, thinking about it like that, but I thought it was just how I was becoming.
Yes. So would were you super dependent physically and mentally on
Yes.
alcohol?
Yes, absolutely. It got worse. I mean, as work became more stressful, as the meetings increased.
What do you do for
Yeah.
work?
I worked in hospitality, customer service, hotels. Um,
Okay, I'm glad that you say that because I've had some people comment before and say that they absolutely have the hardest time getting sober working in hospitality. And can you explain why the connection?
um, so it's it's really used as a crutch to last as long as you can in the industry when you know, it comes very easy for customers, for guests to express themselves when they're angry. Um, but you don't often hear about the good things. So, on a random night, you'll hear all the bad, and you probably won't hear anything good. And on top of that, if you're a manager, you'll hear all the negative from your employees as well.
Hmm.
Um, so amongst managers, it is something we do um, daily on the job, um, celebrating. We find random things to celebrate, and we'll go out. And it's on the hotel, so there's really nothing to think about.
Yeah.
Um, so it's just something you do. I mean, I definitely got less invites when I was telling people I was quitting.
Oh.
Um, Pretty quickly, yeah.
So was there a complete tipping point that you woke up one morning and you were done?
Um, so it was weird. It was when I was drunk that I would look for motivation to not drink.
Okay.
I don't know why. Like, I'm not sure why that is, but I would be drinking at work starting at 10 a.m. Because meetings were coming up and stuff. And I would be hiding and drinking. Like it was not good. I didn't, it's just not good. Um, and yeah, I heard this guy talking one time when I was drunk and on a podcast or something, and stopped the podcast, looked him up. He wrote a book, and I don't know. He was just saying words that I needed to hear, and yeah, I don't know. It was weird because I have tried many times before to quit drinking. And I would be at work and my colleagues would be like, hey, how many days is it? And I'm like, hey, it's 3 days, and how are you? What's going on? Like, what are you feeling? And I'm like, not too bad, but it sucks. I remember
But
coming out of, what's that?
they were supportive, kind
They
of.
were supportive. It was weird. It was almost like they were supportive, but then when I would fail, they were just like, no worries, dude. I've tried too. Let's have a drink.
Oh
It was
gosh.
a weird thing. It wasn't like do it again, try again, because everyone I was talking to, they're like, oh yeah, when I hit my 6th day, yeah, dude, it sucked. On my 7th day, like I quit. Like they all had talked about it, and they're like, it's so weird. And I would ask them, do you plan on quitting? Because you're telling me all this stuff about your experience. And they're like, oh no, I like beer too much, or I like wine too much, or like, how could you quit if you're doing this job every day? As managers with, in hotels, typically 10-hour shifts are required 5 days a week. Um, so I mean, you're there all the time, you know,
Yeah.
it's constant. And my
And
position
and if you get
was,
wasted enough, you can just go take a nap.
yeah, exactly. I mean, you really could. Like I had, I had an office far away from the operation, so I would see, you know, bosses and stuff come. They were gone for an hour or two when things were getting crazy, and they would come back, and you could just smell it on them. It was
Ugh.
like it was the environment. It's how it was.
Yikes. Uh,
Yeah.
so when you, what is different? What was different about this time than all the other times? Because I mean, I know a lot of. I guess I'm not in a lot of your guys' shoes when I talk to you. When some of you say that you've tried to quit several times, um, but it sounds like you've tried to quit several times. What was different about the? Is this the longest time you've gone sober, and why?
Yes, this is the longest time. Um, what was different was, and I think I may have mentioned this a while ago, but it was the book that I had started reading. Um,
What's that called?
yeah, it's by David Goggins. It's called Can't Hurt Me.
Oh,
Yeah,
I've listened to majority of that book. David Goggins is
yeah.
amazing.
So he's like amazing, and like, he's crazy. And when I try and tell, I don't really try and tell people, my wife and my family, like, because like if I start saying it, like they're not going to understand. And it's exactly what he says. They're
Yeah,
not going to understand, you
yeah.
know? And it's true. And like, I don't know what it is, but I was drunk when I first started listening to him. And the next day, I went on a run around the block,
Wow.
just like he did when he decided he wanted to change and go back into the military, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I ran around the block. It's point 0.4, 0.39 miles or something. And it like hurt for real. I was like, it was so hard. And I thought I tasted blood or something. Like I was so out of shape. Like internally, maybe externally, I didn't look, because I'm like 5'9". I was like 100 and I don't know, 75 pounds or so. Um, but yeah, it was not fun. And but it's this whole thing, right? Like torture yourself. Um, and so I did it again the next day, and I haven't had a drink since April 27th.
Wow, April 27th.
Yeah.
And so did you just turn to fitness and obviously you've lost weight.
Yeah, just running. Not really working out too much, but I've just been running. Um, Depending on the week, 4 to 6 times a week, I'll run. Um, and yeah, I lost. I weigh 146 now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Like my belt fits me from when I was like 18. It's so weird.
That's a good
It's
feeling.
like so weird. It's such a cool feeling. Yeah.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, it's just an amazing feeling. It feels so good. Um, and I take my kids on runs now and stuff.
And your kids remind me how old they are. They're close to mine.
5 and 7. My son just turned 7.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And having kids 2 years apart, I
Yeah.
mean, is your wife, is she a drinker or is she what
No,
they
like,
call like a normie?
yeah, exactly. No, she could have a glass of wine and not care about having another. Like, it's something that's never made sense to me. Um, because if I opened a bottle, I'd finish that bottle by myself. Like, I,
Yeah.
what it's like. Like, I don't know. I think the last time, one of the last times I had too much, was at work with another manager. Um, and it's weird. I'm not drinking to get, like, wasted or something. Like, that wasn't my mentality. I don't know why. I was just drinking and I hated what I was doing in that moment, like my
Hmm.
work and stuff. I just hated it. And I don't remember leaving. I remember pulling over somewhere because I got sick.
Oh,
And I don't, the next thing I remember is sitting on the couch and my kids come up to me. And then the next thing I remember, I'm like, I'm going to be sick. And I went out in the backyard and it was nighttime and I left the lights off because I didn't want someone seeing me and
right.
I didn't want someone hearing me, like my family. And I'm getting sick in the backyard. And then the porch light turns on and my wife is standing there. And I'm like, yeah, it was just not good.
No, I'm sure she was thrilled.
Yeah. Yeah. She was so over it. Like, I mean, she never like yelled at me, but she was just so over it.
They have this way of being over it without yelling at you, and then it
Yeah.
just makes you like die inside because you're like,
Yes.
I know that you hate that I'm doing this, but
Yeah.
I'm still gonna do it because I don't care what you think in this moment.
Yes. Yes. And I'm like, I'm the one that is hating it at work, um, and dealing with all this stuff. And in hotels, my role specifically is to deal with all the escalated cases with the guests, whether that is in person, on the phone, email, anything. And if it goes to corporate, it comes back to me. Um, and it's just nonstop. It's nonstop.
Like, what? I mean, I can understand like some complaints about hotels, but what like is there really to like get so upset about?
I mean, they will find a reason when they want something free.
Oh,
Typically, it's I don't want to pay for this trip, so I'm going to find the smallest thing and I'm going to blow it up.
like there was
And
a black hair on a white sheet
yeah,
and they freak out and it's not even and it's a straight black hair.
yeah,
Like,
like there's a black hair, there's mold, there's blood, there's a bug,
oh,
there's old food in the fridge, there's a smear on the TV, there's a crack on the paint, like
crack on the paint
anything.
smear on the
Like,
TV.
serious,
People
it's
are
something
so
like
pathetic.
crazy stuff. Um,
I mean,
and it's nonstop.
I have been moved rooms because, it didn't
Yeah,
feel clean. But
yeah,
sometimes you just deal with it. And I'm
yeah,
sorry that there's a scratch on the wall.
yeah.
I'm
No,
sorry.
for real.
Like, I can understand that that would like drive somebody crazy enough to want to drink.
Yes, and on top of that, I also dealt with all of the celebrations.
Oh,
Um, and like this hotel is over 1,000 rooms,
oh wow.
so it's a lot of celebrations. And you get to a point where you're like, yes, of course it's your wedding. Yes, of course it's your anniversary. Of course it's a birthday. Of course you want something, and of course you don't want to pay for it. Like, every email I got, I'm celebrating this. Is there something you can do special for me that I don't have to pay for? I don't know how
Hmm.
many emails I've gotten like that. And at some
Wow.
point, you're just, you know what? I'm going to stop reading these emails. I'm going to go have a few drinks and I'm going to sit back down and try and get through them. You know?
But so being sober versus drinking, responding to those emails, what is
Yeah.
that difference?
So it turns out that the alcohol, I guess it was just it was just making me a weak person.
Mm.
It was making me a whiny person mentally, like internally. Um, it was just making me just so weak, and since I've been running, and I have this clear head now, there's no like fog over my head. Um, I can deal with things. It's weird. I deal with it, and I get past it, and I know that later I'm going to run. Like it's weird. It's really hard to explain, but I can deal with it better. I could, like, my kids. I love them to death, and I'll die for them. But man, they can really get to you, right? And you're
Do
like,
I know?
right?
I'm literally
Um,
just a year ahead of you in child life.
Man, yes. So it's like I just had no patience for them before.
And
Like
especially potty
alcohol.
training, and when they're both
Oh,
fighting
yes, dude.
and they don't want to wear something you want them to wear. I mean, it's
Yes.
all the things. The list goes on. And like I've had comments be uh like rude comments about maybe I shouldn't have been a mom if I couldn't handle my kids. And I'm like, I'm just expressing how
Bro.
I'm just telling you
Yeah.
that kids aren't always easy. They are the
Yeah.
best blessing in the whole entire
Yeah.
world, and you don't love anything more than your children,
Yep.
but it's
Yep.
hard.
It is
And
so hard.
and some people
Yes.
feel like they have to drink to cope with parenting, and that is not the solution to the problem. The problem is
Definitely.
learning how to control your own emotions and
Yes.
teaching them how to deal with their emotions as well.
Yes.
But some of
Absolutely.
us didn't grow up learning how to deal with our emotions. Like, what is your
Right.
background with alcohol? And like, do you feel like you were like suppressing things and just masking?
Yeah. So my background, I mean, everyone, I don't say everyone, a lot of people in my family drink. I have had a few family members that have gone to um, like some sort of retreat or something, like retreats where they help you quit drinking. Um, I have a cousin who is a doctor in California. He's an anesthesiologist, and he was talking to me about how in our family gene specifically we have some sort of gene that he calls the addiction gene. He said we're really apt to becoming addicted. Um, so we as a family need to keep that in mind. He does not drink at all. Um,
Thanks for
but yeah,
thanks for letting me know, because I'm like, somebody's putting me under,
right,
and I really hope they're not hungover.
right, exactly. I'm like, okay, bro.
Right.
Um, yeah. So my father has been drinking since I was born. But that being said, I don't. I to my knowledge, I've never seen him drunk. He is more of a six pack of Heineken kind of guy. Um, and it was something that I always saw. Beer was always in our house,
Yep.
and I didn't like it growing up. I
But I
actually
did.
forced myself to drink. You said you did?
I liked beer. I liked the taste of beer at a young age.
Oh, really? I hated it. No, I hated it. I started liking wine, um, and man, that was not good. There was a
Uh,
time where I was like a bottle and a half in of drinking one night of wine,
how old?
and this was 4 years ago or something.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. And I was throwing up in the sink in the kitchen, and one of my
Oh.
kids like walked in, and I look over, and I'm trying to tell them to like go away, and yeah, that was so
Oh.
bad.
I I mean, I think some of us that have had to grow up as we're raising our children, I mean, I think they've witnessed some things and they won't remember it. I mean, they were young
Yeah,
enough. I mean, 4
yeah,
years ago, what, that's three and
yeah,
one.
exactly. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but like, so your dad just drank beer. He never, like, he never abused alcohol in front of you.
No, no, I
But
never.
when did you start drinking?
Um, probably, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Um,
Oh, later in life.
yeah. Um, it was a friend who was like trying to get me to drink these different beers. I remember that. And I was like, these aren't really good, dude. And so I had one and I had a headache. And he's like, oh, no, that's normal, man. You just gotta drink more.
Just
And the
man
headaches will go
up.
away. And I'm like, okay, dude. Like that's beer, right? Like that's how it's advertised on us as
Oh my
men,
gosh.
especially in America, as men barbecue and drink beer.
Which is funny.
Um,
Roles were reversed in my house. I was the griller and beer drinker, and he was the White Claw and
oh
playing
my
with the
gosh,
kids. Like,
that's awesome.
it was opposite.
That's awesome. Yeah, I really tried getting my wife into beer when I was drinking, and she would not have it. But I was like, I don't mean like, light beers. I mean, I would go on a hunt and I had special places where I'm like, I'd buy, these 10%, 12% beers
Oh yeah.
and, these awesome, not awesome stouts, and like pumpkin stouts. And, um, the strongest beer I had it was like a 17%, and I had two of them one night.
Oh
And
man.
like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it was just not good.
Ugh.
It's not good.
What's been the biggest challenge in maintaining your sobriety, especially with responsibilities and stresses of work and being a father?
The biggest challenges. Um, yeah. You know what? I think I've been doing okay with my kids and with work and everything. I think it's going to sound weird, but I don't know. I think being in the grocery store is such a huge challenge for me.
It's not weird at all. A lot of people actually say that.
Oh, do they? I don't even.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think being in a grocery store. Just I think yesterday I just for a moment I just looked because around this time I would be collecting random Halloween pumpkin beers and stuff,
Yeah.
and I'm looking at them. I'm just looking. Um, and yeah, that definitely is a challenge. And this is going to sound not smart, but a couple of days ago I barbecued chicken and I marinated my chicken in beer.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought a one of those tall boys, this cheap beer, and like I just don't drink beer like that, so it's not as much of a temptation to me. But when I opened it, I did smell it, and I was like, "Oh crap, that actually smells very good."
Really? That's so
Yeah,
funny. I have similar to you is I didn't drink those cheap beers.
yeah, yeah.
But
Right?
when I cracked open a Coors Light to dump it down for a prop for a short or whatever,
Yeah.
it was so strong smelling, and Coors Light never smelled strong to me. It
Oh,
was always
weird.
just like, but now since we haven't drank, I mean, it's like
Yeah.
extra smelly. But yeah, though it was never a temptation for me to have like something like that in my
Okay. Yeah.
house because I didn't like those beers.
Yeah. No, for sure. I did not like them, but
And
it did smell good.
I don't think a lot of people do cook with alcohol. Like, I mean, there's vodka
Right? Yeah.
sauces, there's wine sauces, I mean, I made St. Patty's Day, I used a Guinness. I felt awkward buying Guinness, but
Right. Yeah.
I put Guinness in my corned beef because it just like gives it the flavor, but I didn't have any
Totally.
temptation. But I do know somebody, and I'm sure he wouldn't care sharing a story, but he put wine in his spaghetti sauce one night and it just took him back down to
Oh, shoot.
drinking again and he had to get out of it. But it's like, I mean, there's a lot of pushback and even in the beginning I was thinking like, is it okay to still cook with alcohol? And in my mind, I'm sure we're gonna get comments, but in my mind it
Yeah.
cooks the alcohol out.
Right. Yeah.
So
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, it's the chicken marinades overnight, but when you're throwing it on fire, on a charcoal grill, I mean,
yeah.
you're not going to get any percentage of alcohol from that. I mean,
Right. Well, and you feed children. You go to restaurants
yeah,
and you get them like the vodka penne sauce, whatever. I don't know.
yeah,
And
yeah.
they wouldn't feed it to the children if it was
Right.
Alcohol.
Exactly.
So what did you do with the beer?
I just poured it all in that chicken and I put the can in the trash can. Um, and
Nice.
my wife said she just, when she didn't know I was doing anything, and she said like her stomach dropped when she saw that can in the trash can. She thought
Oh.
that I like drank it or something. Yeah.
Oh, so like it's pretty bad. Like she doesn't want you to drink anymore.
No, she does
No.
not. No. I would no, I got to a point where I was too uncomfortable to drink in front of her because I felt guilty. So I would just go in the garage and down it real quick or something, you know.
Yeah. So you got to the phase of hiding it,
Yeah. Oh
and
yeah, I
now
was hiding cans in my car. Yeah.
in your car.
Yeah.
Wow. So when
Yeah.
you quit drinking, what was that first week like? I mean, you said you ran, which getting outside definitely, I think, helps tremendously in quitting drinking.
Yeah.
And it sounds like it's helped you. What other things did you notice in those first like 3 to 7 days?
Yeah. So I will say I tried a month before
Okay.
the last time I drank. Um, and that lasted 4 days. Um, I remember the first day was not hard at all, you know, and then the second day was a little irritating. And I remember the third day I was walking out of Costco and I was feeling so just mad because there were so many people in that parking lot. And I was feeling like I needed a drink and I needed it now. And I'm like, where can I just get one strong beer before I get home? And I felt like I could feel it in my gums, like it hurt, you know, and I could feel it in
Wow.
my cheeks, like in my skin, like my skin felt weird. And I was standing in the parking lot, like feeling all of this. Um, but yeah, fast forward, um, the first week and a half, um, it messed with my sleep and
Okay.
it hurt my stomach a lot. I was feeling a lot of abdominal pain.
From you
Um,
think that was withdrawal?
yeah, I think so. I don't know what else it would have been. There was just a lot of sharp pain, like all over. It was weird, like all over my stomach or my muscles or something.
Oh, and you didn't ask.
No, I
No.
didn't ask anything. Just a month before that, I did. My work had this medical team come in and do a free evaluation and stuff and blood
Oh.
work, and I did that. And it wasn't, you know, my blood pressure was like they said it was too high. It was like 144 over
Oh.
100 or something like that. And um, you know, I had too much body fat kind of thing and all this stuff. Um, but a few months ago, they came in again, and I went to go see them again. And they did an exam of blood work again, and they're like, "You're like a different person in this blood work." They're like, "It's so weird. Like you have things that are so low, it can't read it now."
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. Um, I veered off. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I want to know like all the like that first, week and a half you
Yeah.
mentioned it being like those stomach pains and stuff. But you
Yeah.
knew that you were healthy because of obviously the blood test and whatnot, like
Yeah.
fast forwarding. But in your
Yeah.
sleep, that's what did you notice about your sleep? You said it was different,
Um,
hard.
yeah. I couldn't fall asleep because it was just, you know, I would usually drink,
Hmm.
you know, and I would feel tired and I would go to bed. And that's been my routine for a while now. So trying to relax with not drinking was very difficult. Um, I would stay up. I would wake up in the middle of the night. In probably the first 3 weeks, I was just not a nice person. I was just in a constant bad mood.
Yeah.
Um, and I was still running at this point, of course, but yeah, that was really challenging. Yeah.
So I want to touch on that first 3 weeks because I've always said those first 3 weeks are definitely the hardest. Your moods, you're adjusting to learning different habits and like your
Yeah.
emotions. So
Yes.
running, was that the only thing that got you through this, or did you like turn to like any supplements or any other like flavored water tea or anything?
No. Just
No.
run. Yeah. I was, for the first 4 months, I was running like 6 days a week. Um, and I was just running,
Wow.
and that helped a lot. It helped a lot.
Well,
Yeah.
I think running really helps with those I'm not a doctor,
Like
but
endorphins and stuff. Yeah.
endorphins, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I'm, but a lot of people also mention they get outside and they go walking, but you go
Yeah.
running, like you just took it like
Yeah.
legit David Goggins.
I just loved everything he was saying, um, to the point where I was typing up and printing out quotes and putting them all over my house for me to
Wow.
see, in front of the sink, in the bathroom, on the fridge, at the back door, at the front door, at the garage.
I've heard that's
Um,
really helpful
yeah, it is really
in
helpful,
in
actually.
anything, like not just sobriety, but like,
Right.
motivating yourself, making yourself feel better. So you had the whole, I mean, I
Yeah.
highly recommend people listening to David Goggins also. I haven't completely listened to his book, but I know about him. I know that
Yeah.
he's legit, absolutely
Yeah.
badass. But
Right.
oh my gosh, um,
Yeah.
I can't say that I went running ever since I quit since I quit drinking. I mean, I
It's
work
like,
out, but and I walk, but no, I don't
there
run.
you go. Oh, I was just talking to my a family member about that, because they are trying to quit as well. Um, and I'm like, you just need to run. Just run, dude. Like, to this point, like, I have now, my longest run now has been 13 miles.
Wow.
And I don't like, the worst part about running is the first mile. I hate it every time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to get up and get shoes on and run. Um, but in the middle of running, and especially at the end, it's the best feeling in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I just love that feeling. Um, and yeah, I'm trying to talk them into it, and they keep saying, I hate running. I hate running. No, I won't run. They're like, I would rather play chess instead of run, and I hate chess, you know? And I'm like, I totally get that, but you just, you do what you hate, and if you do it, you'll get good at it. And I don't know, it's really tough. I mean, I guess you can't, make someone do anything, but
True. Yeah.
um,
Uh, you started at like what, less than point 0.4 of a mile, and now you're up to 13
yeah,
miles. Do you have a goal? Like, are you like maybe hoping to run? Was it 26 miles?
yeah. I will definitely be signing up for a marathon pretty soon. Um, yes,
Because half marathon. So you're pretty much already ran a half marathon.
yes, yeah,
In 6 months, you've gotten yourself. I mean, that's absolutely incredible.
yeah. It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's just, it's fun, and I don't wear headphones or anything. Um, I don't bring a phone with me or anything like that.
Oh, that's good. My Dr. Brink, I don't know if you watched mine and his podcast, but I just saw him last week, and we were talking about like mental clarity or whatever, and he's like, you just need
Yeah,
to go. As I mean, I don't know how many people that watch this actually follow all my posts or whatever, but I got a
yeah,
cortisone shot last week, and I've been having
yeah. I
issues
saw
walking.
that. Yeah,
And I told him, I said, I really feel like walking was helping me tremendously with my mental space. And it's not that I like feel like I want to go back to alcohol, but I can see where stagnant people turn back to alcohol because it like you're not moving your body and getting outside. And he's like, Megan,
yeah,
you just need to get back outside and, don't wear your headphones, don't nothing, just take in all the sounds around you and let your
yeah.
thoughts run. And I was like, wow, good point.
Yes,
I mean, usually I'm doing my walk and talks or scrolling or listening to a podcast while I'm walking, I'm not just soaking it in. So you just soaking in all the natural noises around you, like, has probably
Yeah,
definitely helped your mental space even more.
that's the best. Yeah, and I prefer to be alone. It's just my personality, it's how I get energy.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's just another upside to running. But yeah, I mean, it's an amazing. I just love it so much.
Yeah.
Um, I
And
love it so much.
you're in Texas, so the weather's pretty decent.
Yeah, it depends on the day,
Okay.
or the hour, I guess. When I started running at the end of April, I ran through summertime, um, and that definitely had its challenges.
Yeah, I can
Um,
imagine.
but what was nice is in Texas, no one's outside, so I mean,
You really
it's.
had a silent time.
I mean, yeah, it was pretty quiet.
Oh, wow. So have you changed
Yeah,
your diet as well or started
a
taking
little bit. Yes. I wasn't that focused. I definitely don't eat out as much at all
Okay.
as I did before. I'm mostly cooking my own food. Um, but yeah, as far as supplements go, I do take um, a um, a probiotic in the morning. It's the
Mm-hmm.
first thing I do is I'll have water in my probiotic, and then I go outside barefoot and spend
Grounding.
some time in the grass. Yeah. Um,
Dr. Brink also told me to do that. He's like, you just need to
oh,
start. I'm
really?
like, wow. And then you
Oh,
just
this guy's
mention it.
awesome.
He's pretty great.
Yeah. Yeah. So I definitely believe in that grounding and stuff. There's this professor that I listen to, and one of the things that, he's quoted saying is um, first thing in the morning, daylight before screen light, even on a
Oh,
cloudy day.
ooh.
It's good for your eyes, it's good for your brain. Um, so yeah, that feels really good to do in the morning.
You
As far
said
as
daylight.
supplements go, yeah. Oh,
Do you,
he says daylight before screen light, even on a cloudy day.
even on a cloudy day.
Yeah, he's a professor he's at Stanford.
I love that. Because what do we
Yeah,
normally
he's
do? Normally turn over and instantly get on our screens.
yeah,
I mean,
right?
I
Isn't
do.
that
I'm
crazy?
guilty. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
insane. And you listen to all these podcasters and influencers, and they're like, "Don't do this. No, like, no screen time an hour before bed. Wait, an hour after you wake up." And I'm like, "But that's my job. Like, I'm constantly
right.
on my
No, I for
phone."
sure, for sure.
So
That
for
must
people
be a
that
challenge.
yeah, so for people that don't have to be on their phones 24/7, I mean, I need to set boundaries, but I'm working on it. Anyways,
Yeah,
but like, for normal people that don't run an online world of, you know,
right. Yeah,
influencing, like, just get off their phones. Like, screen
yes,
time is terrible.
yes, right. Ugh,
And then it can take you back down to drinking because you're comparing yourself to other people's lives. I mean, there's just a whole battle with screen time. I mean, that's a
yeah,
whole different story.
for
But
sure.
so how has your decision to get sober affected your marriage or relationship with your partner or your wife?
Yeah. So my wife, um, it has been awesome. Um, it's like the little things. I have more energy uh, to do things. I mean, doing the dishes,
Hmm.
I cook so much more. Um, and, we communicate, when I would get home from work, I need to drink.
Mm-hmm.
And I do not feel like talking. And she
Okay.
knew that. I didn't have to say that. But the downside is it would be very similar with my kids, and I would do my very best to try and listen to them and how was your day, but I'm like I have zero left to give you,
Yeah.
you know. Um, but now, I mean, I have so much more energy for my babies. I do take them probably 2 or 3 times a week right now. I take them on a run with me. They want to run with
Oh,
me, so I'll take them on a mile run around the neighborhood. Um, and it's been awesome. It's awesome. I'm outside running with them. I'm in the house wrestling with my son, and I am not winded. I am not exhausted. Um, Even playing with my kids before, I would need a drink because it was stressful to me to play with them,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Same.
because they just have so much energy and it's just sucking so much out of me before. But that's because I was so weak before.
Yeah.
Um, and yet they still have energy. Nothing's changed about that.
No.
You know, um, but I have energy to give now, you know.
That, and so like the which completely brings being present with our children one of the number one like reasons never to want to go back to alcohol because
Yes.
if you feel any way that I feel like I wasted way too much time sucking on a bottle than I did
Yeah.
spending time with my children.
Yes. Absolutely.
Because that's the
Yeah.
one thing that you're focusing on. And it sounds like, that you'd come home, your decompression was turning to alcohol, and everybody
Yeah.
else took a back burner. Does your
Yeah.
wife work?
No.
No.
She,
So,
I mean, she does. She doesn't get paid for it.
well, yeah.
She
Okay.
homeschools our kids. Yeah.
No, I mean, I guess like I
No, it's all
understand
good. Yeah.
that because I mean
Right.
I'm technically a stay-at-home mom too, but
Yeah.
I
Oh, it's
mean we
awesome.
run like without us like you'd have to hire a nanny anyways, so we
Right.
save you money.
Exactly.
We save money.
Right.
Um,
Exactly.
uh, so I mean, and now that you can help her like actually have a break. I
Yeah.
mean, at the end of the day, she can take a moment to herself and gather her thoughts after being with children and homeschooling because kudos to everybody that can homeschool because there's no way.
I know. I
No way.
know.
If
Yeah.
worst came to worst, yes, I would homeschool my children. But right now, my kids are in a good school district, so
Awesome.
I'm not worried about
That's
it.
good. That's awesome.
Uh, uh,
Back
sorry.
to what you had asked earlier. As far as these supplements go, I do take. It's like it's a collagen supplement. They're capsules,
Oh yeah.
and it like I forget it. It's like collagen, but it's for like lean muscle or something, and
Okay.
it has like bovine parts in it or something like heart and liver and stuff like that.
And it's a capsule. You said
It is a capsule, yeah, yeah.
collagen's one of those weird things for me. I mean, I like the powder more so. It's a mental thing.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not saying I don't like. I believe in collagen. I just struggle with
yeah,
like the getting it down sometimes.
for
So
sure.
capsules would be fine.
No, yeah, these are capsules. Yeah.
And what does your diet consist of? Are you just a balanced eater, or are you?
Um, so one thing I've noticed since I have not been drinking is before when I would drink when I was a drinker, I would eat a meal and it would be a huge meal,
Mhm.
and then I didn't have to eat the rest of the day. Um, um, Now it's I eat a little bit um, throughout the day. I don't eat breakfast. I just don't. I'm hungry, but I just don't,
Mhm.
and I have no problem doing that. I just fasted a few weeks ago, and that was not a challenge for me because I'm
No.
not a big eater anymore.
Oh.
It's weird. Like I can eat, but I don't need to eat um, as much or something. I don't know. That kind of sounds weird, but um, yeah. So I eat a lot of nuts now. Pine nuts, peanuts, almonds, um,
Healthy fats.
stuff like that. Yeah. Um, and yeah, for lunch, I might make a sandwich or something. Dinner will be light also. Um, and then maybe if it's a late night snack, I have this like seed butter
Hmm.
that I'll do with some apple or something. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's about it. Like my wife probably eats more than I do, and she's smaller and lighter than me. It's crazy.
Oh. Um.
Yeah.
So I think it could be wrong. I'm thinking back, and I don't want to like offend anybody if I say this, but I think you're like one of the first dads that have came on with children my age that have been willing to share their story, because I have a lot of dads that actually reach out to me, and maybe not necessarily in the comments, but they reach out to me behind, or like through other social media
Yeah.
platforms, and um, they've talked about how their relationship with their children have changed also since they quit. And being a father is like, you're the leader of the house. In most cases, the father is the leader of the house, and you guys are the breadwinners.
Yeah.
And so, like, there's a lot falling on you. So, a lot of dads do turn to drinking. And I mean, usually it is the dad drinking. So,
Yeah.
like, what's one thing that you wish people understood about fathers who decide to get sober? And what misconceptions do you think need to be broken?
Um, yeah, that's a big one. So I don't know if this will, um, completely answer your question. But one thing I forgot over the years, over many years, even before I was drinking, and something that Goggins, reminded me about, is that as a man, I am a predator. Um,
Mm,
and that's just something that I never thought about, or I forgot, or I never knew, or something. But as a man, I am a predator. This is, my house, my family, and I
yeah.
need to hunt for them, you know? Um, and I don't know, it was such a big thing. And I would think on that, um, every night, that I was a predator, and how could I, as a predator, not be alert at nighttime when there's evil out there, you know? Um, and I can't be alert because I'm drunk,
Yeah.
you know? I'm not going to hear if someone's trying to break into my home. Um, and if we're out and about doing something, if something happens, am I going to be strong enough to deal with it? Am I going to be fast enough to run after it? Um, so yeah, that reminder that I'm a predator, um,
That's strong.
really helps me a lot. Yeah.
That's definitely, I've not heard that one. Like I
Yeah.
said, I mean, I know David Goggins. I haven't finished all of the book and haven't read any of like his other things, but that makes total sense. And you're there to protect your family.
Yeah.
And what happens
Yeah.
if you are asked out and somebody comes in and hurts your kids and wife? Like, you have to
Yes.
live with that.
Yes.
You just better
Exactly.
hope that your wife has that mama bear instinct and she can like kick some ass, because I
Yes.
mean,
Exactly.
and my husband sleeps hard sober, so I could like,
Right.
and
Right.
oh
Yeah.
wow. Um so like, what misconceptions do you think need to be broken?
Um, you know, I don't know if it's everyone's work environment is different. But beer and men and drinking, we have to drink, and one
Stereotype.
beer is not going to kill you. You know, there's a man in my life that I look up to a lot. Um, and typically, if I were talking to him after a long day, he would always encourage a beer.
Mm,
Always just go home and have a beer, watch some football, just relax. And like that is like that male mentality that I think is really common nowadays.
yeah.
And it sucks. And it sucks, and it's so weak, and it's such a weak mindset you
It
know
is. Yeah.
um, After work, I need to take care of myself first. I need to run and get it out of me or something, and then I need to get after it with my kids, with my wife. um, you know so that whole drinking thing, drinking a beer, needing a beer, I forgot to mention, when the very first time I barbecued after I quit drinking, I was pretty pissed off. I was not in a good mood that entire barbecue because I needed to be drinking while I'm barbecuing.
I
As
get that.
dangerous as that might sound, um, I needed to be drinking. I was usually buzzed during my barbecue,
Mm-hmm.
and I was telling my wife, "Babe, I need a beer right now." And I'm just not happy right now, you know. I remember saying that. Um, so and you see all these commercials and these guys who are happy and built and look healthy and they have a drink in their hand and that sucks.
Yeah.
Um, but that's not a man. From what I've read, actually, beer is one of the biggest testosterone killers. Um,
I read that too.
yeah, so I think that is something that needs to die. That mentality.
Yeah. I mean, because low T in men definitely not a good,
Yes,
not, I mean, you know.
yes, I know. Trust me, I know, and I know now that it's different. I don't need to get tested. I'm listening to my body, and I know that I'm good. But before, I was just always tired,
Hmm.
and I was just never there. Um, but yeah, I mean, I had a beard for a long time, um, and I was running a lot. I started running a lot. I had quit drinking, and I liked my beard, and it was something that men do. A lot of men, not all men, but um, and I was going on these long runs, and I was taking a shower, and I was coming out, and I didn't like the way my face looked anymore.
Oh,
It was bothering me. I didn't look the way that I felt inside.
like clean.
So, like clean, yeah. Um, and so I shaved my beard, and people at work didn't like it. Actually, they like rejected it, and they were like, "It looks weird," and "You look weird," and all this stuff. And
There is this weird thing though, like, like women like makeup versus no makeup, and it's like the same as a man with a beard versus no
right,
beard. I mean, it
yes,
really does do some changes your
I mean,
face.
yeah, I mean, it probably does. I felt better, but after that, I didn't feel 100% because when I would take a shower and I would get out, I had this huge, afro thing and I hated it. And I started hating the hair on my head. And I would remember, Goggins talked about when he was like, I'm done with my old self and he shaved his head. And I went to the barber and I'm like, dude, I want to take it off. He's like, how much? And I said, all of it. And I've never done that before.
So shaving your head is because you're done with your old self, not because, you go Britney crazy.
No. That's
Sorry.
awesome. No, that was good. Um, I was done with my old self, and I didn't actually. My wife and kids were in California when I shaved my head. They didn't know. I
Oh.
showed up at the airport, and when my wife saw my head, yeah,
What was her reaction?
she was almost in tears.
Like
Yeah,
happy tears?
I don't think they were too happy because she actually liked my hair. Um, but at the same time, she loves Goggins and everything that I
Yeah.
tell her about him and stuff. So
My
yeah,
husband, he's army, so he's used to being clean cut, like
yeah,
very high and tight. And I was like, I like the short beard. I like the little longer hair. I mean, looking
right,
back at like his pictures of deployment, I was like, you were so clean cut. I'm like, I don't know if I can ever go back to that. It's
right.
so,
Oh, that's awesome.
oh, it is definitely a change of personality, and like you cleaned yourself up, so you cleaned yourself up.
Yes,
That's amazing.
yeah,
And low T goes for women also. If we have low T, we have issues as well.
yeah,
So, I mean, and alcohol really affects hormones in general.
right,
And men, testosterone is much larger in you than obviously females. But
yeah.
I mean, you don't want to lose that because,
No,
I mean, it affects like mood, like muscle,
yes, like
everything.
everything, right? And you're
Yeah.
already losing it because your age,
Yeah.
like my age, I'm like it's already going down,
Yeah.
and alcohol is just going to fast forward it.
Yep.
And every time now, when I see these like men, my neighbor or something, and they're not walking too well and stuff, and like I hate it. And I'm like, I'm so glad I started this now,
Hmm.
because now they can't. It might be
Yeah.
too late for them, or at least it's going to be extra
Harder.
challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I'm so
Yeah.
happy that
Because we're about the same age, right?
Yeah, I'm
late
38,
30s.
37. Yeah.
Okay, same age.
Yeah.
Um, uh, we look at some men also and we're like, man, if you just quit drinking, you'd feel so much better. Like, you wouldn't be complaining all the time.
Yeah.
And you just look at some of these people, and now I can see people even at stores or restaurants. I'm like, ah, that is alcohol bloat. That is not just I ate too
Yes.
much McDonald's bloat, which they
Yes.
both are just like terrible for you. But you
Yeah,
can
totally.
see the alcohol. I mean,
Yes.
you obviously have slimmed down tons. And I look back at pictures, I'm like, gosh, my face was so puffy, my midsection was so puffy.
Yes.
And so I'm like, that's alcohol bloat. That is not like I
Yep.
need to lose 10 pounds because I ate too much.
Yes. Oh man, yes. Like you could see it in the skin too.
Yeah,
Like that is not normal aging skin, bro.
no.
You know,
And
that is your skin being dried out.
it's never too late to quit drinking. It's just, yeah, reversing
Yeah.
the damage that we've done is going to take longer than, us.
Yeah.
We reversed our aging a lot quicker than some of these 60-year-old plus people.
Yeah. Right.
And they all say, like, you're lucky that you quit at your age and not my age. I'm like, well, I'm glad I
Yeah.
quit at my age too because
Right?
I don't want to be miserable. I do
Yes.
have another question. And so, for other fathers out there who are struggling with similar issues, what's the one piece of advice you'd give to help take that first step towards sobriety?
Um, yeah, so if they are fathers and husbands, I know for sure, as much as I love my family, it wasn't enough to quit.
Hmm.
I needed to do it for myself. Um, so I think just doing it for yourself. You need to do it for yourself. You know, it's
Yeah.
just like that old airplane emergency mentality. Like you need to put your mask on because the airplane's going down. You
Yeah.
know, and you need to save them, and to do that is to save yourself. You
Ooh,
know,
goosebumps.
um, yeah, right.
Yeah. I think
So
I've heard that before, but hearing it,
yeah,
from another dad is like, that's strong.
yeah. So, and just like I was saying before, you're a predator, and you need to be ready because there are people out there. I mean, this is an evil world we live in.
Yeah.
Um, and you have a family to protect, and you can't do it if you're under the influence
Right.
because the attacker is might not be under the influence, and they might be stronger and they might be faster.
They're there
So
for a reason trying to get you.
yeah, exactly. Um, so I don't know. What I tell everyone, what I was just telling a family member of mine, is just run. Um, I did read a book. I just finished another book called Born to Run. Um,
Okay.
I don't know if I would highly recommend it, only because if you're not really into running, it's going to be hard to read. Like why do I care about any of this? But the first half and the last part of the book are amazing, and it just talks about how us as human beings are born to run, and the science behind it and the research behind it, um, and it's just what helped me. So you know, run. Just run.
And I feel like you're running to solve your problems in a way versus like alcohol, like turning to alcohol, like running to alcohol to solve your problems.
Yeah.
I mean, huge, huge difference, but you're running one way or the other.
Yes. Yes.
And running to physically running would is
Yeah.
the better option
Yes.
because saving yourself, you save your family.
Yes.
And
So
to and I think I just it's hard because the stigma for dads, it is like definitely stereotypes for dads drinking. And I mean, I grew up with my next door neighbor. He died from being an alcoholic. Everybody just knew from the moment he woke up, he had a bush light in his hand to the moment he went to bed. And then, back in the 90s, you're driving around in truck beds with these people drinking and driving because it was
yeah.
no, I mean, that was life. And it was
Yeah.
always the dads having the problem, never looking at the moms having a problem. because we're the quieter ones because we have to be, classy. Sorry, you can't see my fingers. Classy.
No, it's all good.
and uh and so, for
Yeah,
dads wanting to change their way of, I mean, it's hard because dads are a huge role model for children, and it's devastating when a dad can't fully be there for their kid because alcohol is more important. Just as a mom, also. But,
yeah,
having a dad on here is absolutely phenomenal, coming out, breaking that stereotype of being, a drinking father and being more present with your children, because not a lot of dads want to be present with their children. I mean,
yeah.
because they're just too busy.
It's true. Busy and lazy, I think, a lot of the time too.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but every time when I'm running, it's I guess it's like a big thing in Texas that you hang out in your garage with a TV.
It's Idaho.
I
I mean,
don't know.
Idaho.
Oh, is it okay?
Yeah. I mean, it's the,
Um, or maybe it's just like nowadays, and I don't remember seeing that growing up or something.
yeah,
I
it's,
don't know.
and I think like in subdivisions, I don't live in a subdivision. I live in a neighborhood. People are going to be like, what's
Yeah.
the difference? I live on like an older neighbor, like I have an acre, but like the
Oh, gotcha, gotcha.
subdivisions that are like
Yes.
super close together, they all have TVs in there. They're always
Yeah.
in each other's garages socializing. And I mean, that's kind of how
Yeah.
we were too. That's what we would do. But I
Yeah.
mean, I can see
Yeah.
definitely it's social. Like the dads are in there watching football, drinking beer
Yeah. And every time when I'm running and I'm passing these garages, I always see the same men in the garage
with the beer
drinking
belly.
and huge usually, yeah, and watching TV. And with this one guy in particular, I think he has 7 screens in his garage, and he's always sitting there with his garage open watching all these games and drinking.
Yeah.
And it sucks seeing that because he's a predator too. He's supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know, um,
You
yeah.
just look at
So
it completely different. Once you've quit drinking, I
yeah,
mean, it's not that we're sitting there judging people
no,
or, criticizing them or anything. It's just we know now what we did to ourselves, and
yes,
realizing that we had a problem, we wouldn't have been able to be there to protect our children. And we know how much better it feels on the other side of the
yes,
the alcohol rainbow.
yeah, exactly. It's just like our parents. Every time they would tell us something, it would go in one ear out the other.
Yeah.
But they've been there and they've done that. And it's
Yep.
it's it's kind of like that. Like I want you to be better because if it's possible for me, then it's possible for you.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. And that's what I've always said is, I'm like, if I can do it, you can do it. Given
Yes.
everybody has different like levels of alcoholism per se, but it's doable. You just have to want it and work really hard at it,
Yes.
because
Yes.
I'm sure you still struggle. Like you said, you crack that beer open to soak your chicken in, and there's still going to be moments. And like there are moments that I'm like, what if I just like one taste just to see how gross it tastes to me? And I'm like, I'm not even going to touch it because
Yeah, no
it
way.
makes me cringe at the thought of it. And I never want to go back down that road. I know,
Yes.
just like you do, you feel better on the complete opposite side of, like, I mean, it's literally prison.
Yes. And I'll be honest, I do not cringe. It still smells pretty good to me.
Really? Oh.
Yes, it does.
But you're 6 months. I'm a little
Yeah,
further than you by 10
yeah.
months.
I was gonna
But
say, yeah, I thought I saw you were like 16 months or something, right?
yeah.
That's awesome.
And
Um, Good for
there
you.
comes a time, all the
Yeah.
emotions that come with having to refuel instead of like, you're right in that 4 to 6 month where I always told people there's this like pink cloud, and then you have to start reliving all these emotions again that you just push down deep with alcohol. And I mean, have you noticed that?
Yes, very
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Yes, I have noticed that, and it's not easy.
No.
Um, and as again, like as much as I love my family and um, my reason for that, I I'm at the point where I don't want anything to affect my running.
Yeah.
Um, and I like my body. And I don't want to go back to how my body looked before.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I just looked like a bum,
A
like a
bum.
straight up bum. Like I was looking at this
Afro,
picture.
beard,
Yes,
fluffy.
was so bad. I took the picture and I put it next to a new picture, and I'm like, I sent it to my wife. I'm like, look at this, babe. I look like a bum. And she was like, I don't even remember your stomach being that big.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I do. I looked at it all the time and I hated it. And in my Amazon cart, I had a new belt in there that I kept meaning to buy and I never did. And it was a bigger belt than the one I was wearing. I stopped wearing that belt because it hurt my stomach. It gave me like pains in my abdomen
Oh.
because my stomach was pushing on it so much.
Oh my gosh.
Um, yeah, I was like, I would get off work and like I stopped wearing a belt to work. I couldn't wear a belt anymore because it was too small. Um, yeah,
Oh
it's
man.
different.
Yeah. And 5'9" and you said like 140-ish, 40
Yeah,
high 40s. I mean, 175 on your body frame, I couldn't imagine being that big, but you must be like smaller built.
I am. Yeah, it was just like it's mostly like my stomach. Honestly, it was
Yeah.
like so ugly. Yeah, it was so ugly. I hated it.
And
Like it was just uncomfortable.
stout beer is pretty stout.
It is so stout. I'm like, oh man, I could just. It was so bad.
I wasn't a stout drinker. Nope,
Oh
not
shoot.
not. I mean, I would try it, but it was not my thing. It was some of my friends' things, and they didn't like IPAs, and I didn't
Oh,
like
I loved
stouts.
IPAs. Yeah,
Yeah, but those stouts will get your
yeah.
belly just like the IPAs will.
Oh man, it's so bad. Yeah, so bad.
Oh
And
my
especially if you're
gosh.
not doing anything, because I'm like waking up, going to work, sitting down, and then pretty much going home, sitting down. And I was
Yeah,
never doing anything.
just touching on that stereotypical dad drinking. There's more to life out there, and
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, I'm gonna have to like dig into this predator thing because it's so true. So
Yes.
true.
Yeah. Like, man, like my old self, like just sitting there and drinking and with the football game on. I'm doing nothing to make memories with my kids,
Yeah.
right? And they're like, all they're doing is bugging me because all I want to do is sit there and zone out, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's, you know, we just gotta, we just gotta stop that.
Yeah.
You just gotta like turn that freaking TV off, throw that beer away, or whatever it is, man, and go be a real man and get outside.
Yeah. Be
Because you're not
involved
going to
with
see
your
that in a
children.
commercial, but yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, they don't tell dads. I mean, dads aren't the soft ones, but you guys are just as much of a play in our children's upbringing as the mom. Like, moms are very important, and dads are just as important. And
yeah,
I mean, you drinking your life away isn't good for your kids, just like if me drinking my life away. Like, neither one is worse than the other. It's just we have to come to a
yes,
realization.
yes, exactly. And I don't want to see my son become the kind of father that I was, before 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That was one of my questions, I guess. But um like, we don't want our children to grow up thinking that alcohol is the answer to the
yeah,
problems.
yes, and yes. And when they would see me drink, what is that? It's nothing. Oh, is it one of your spicy drinks? Yeah, like it was a spicy drink. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I just hate that. I hate that that was even a conversation we were having, you
Yeah,
know?
I
Like,
get it.
yeah,
It's tough. But now they can
yeah,
look at you and you're fit, you're strong, you're fully present, and
yeah,
they're going to grow up wanting to be healthy like dad instead of like wanting to drink like dad.
yes,
And
absolutely.
absolutely huge. And that's one of the biggest things is I want them to look up, a parent should want their children to look up to them in healthy ways and not like just repeat the same pattern over and over, break those generational cycles. And it starts with
Yes,
us. It
yes, it
really does.
does. Yes, absolutely.
And our
So get
children are
out
the
there and
same
run, right?
yes, get out there and run. Our children are the same generation, and like And I feel
Yes.
like our generation is trying to shift things. So hopefully we can
Yes.
raise even stronger children that know how to cope without alcohol versus all of us prior.
Yes, absolutely. I want my son to be a predator, you know. I want him to be tough.
Yeah.
You know, I want him to know that he's a young boy that's going to be a strong man,
Yeah.
you know. So, you know, be a beast. You know,
Be a
one of the things
beast.
David Goggins says is, you know, I'm paraphrasing, I can't remember exactly, but it's something like it's a sad day when something like it's a sad day when a man becomes like tamed, you know, and polite and stuff like that. You know, like it's something like that, and it's so good. And I have it like it's on my fridge or something. um, but it's true, you know. It's we just forget like we're men, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and man and beer is not that's not a man, you know. It's
Exactly.
whatever society says they're wrong, bro.